You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Hey everybody, Spencer here. I just want to announce that Laura, Michael, and I are going to be taking just a little bit of a break here. We're not going to leave you with nothing. Actually, some of our listeners have mentioned that they didn't even realize we covered multiple theories in our earlier episodes. So we're going to reach way back there, pull out some of those theories that you may have missed, and republish them here, whether as a refresher or as an introduction to these fascinating fan theories. We'll be back with new episodes in just a couple of weeks.
Hey, welcome to Fan Theory Queries, where we analyze fan theories from all over the internet, but mostly Reddit. I'm Laura.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Spencer.
All right, so our next theory is from user DickyDoo123, which is a great username. And it is about the Psych TV show, for those of you that are familiar. So the theory is that everyone knows Shawn isn't psychic. DickyDoo123 says, I've been rewatching one of my childhood favorites, Psych, and it's dawning on me that literally everyone knows Shawn isn't psychic, but they don't care. It's in the song. The intro song, I Know You Know, is performed by the Friendly Indians, which is the band of the series creator Steve Frank. He created it for the show, and I believe it sums up the dynamic of the show. Let's go line by line. I know you know that I'm not telling the truth. So they all know that he's not psychic and he's just really eccentric. They stop questioning it because they don't want to know he knows. It's one of those, I know you know, but you know that I know you know, and it kind of gets compounded like that. Shawn being a psychic allows them to have cause to check things out that they normally wouldn't be able to. So basically he can get them into places that they normally couldn't get into as cops. I know you know, they just don't have any proof. This line has a dual meaning. They don't have proof that he isn't psychic, and they also call him, or he and Gus just show up, when there is no proof that a murder has occurred. The next line. Embrace the deception. Learn how to bend. Your worst inhibitions tend to psych you out in the end. They just don't care that he's lying to them, is basically what it means. And they're fine to just accept his visions as reasons to check things out. They don't know, or they don't want to know how he knows, because he is always going outside the law to solve crime. They'd rather be lied to. They are learning how to bend the law to catch the bad guys. Their inhibitions, keeping them from taking leaps of faith on Shawn and Gus, are what give Psych the edge over the SBPD. All in all, it's a really good intro song, and I love listening to it each time another episode spins up. So that's his theory. First off, Laura, Spencer, have you guys watched Psych? Are you familiar with the show?
Yes, so it holds a special place in my heart in particular because when we got into this, it was 2013. A lady that we knew was just a huge Psych fan, and I don't know what pushed us. I think Spencer may have watched a few episodes before we got married, and I had never watched it before. But this was when we brought our first daughter home from the hospital, and I was home on maternity leave. We were binging Psych during our first weeks of being parents. So it just holds a really special place in my heart that we had our first daughter, our new baby, home with us, and we were watching Psych. And those memories are, from what I can remember from what little sleep I got, very dear.
I love that. That's a great story. And Psych is a fantastic show. My brother actually got me into it when I was younger. And so I watched it when it was still airing. I love it. My thoughts are that it's very possible that they all know. I mean, they make some very good points in this theory.
Yeah, I watched this show too before. I watched it along because it kind of started airing the same time as Monk did. I love Monk.
Yeah.
And this one was just kind of in the same, not the same, a similar vein, but obviously a lot more kooky. Like, I love the chemistry between Shawn and Gus.
Gosh, it's fantastic. It makes the show.
It's like, I'm the best observer that you know.
You thought that a sponge in the sink at the Psych office was a bird last week.
If you'd stop buying them in bird colors, that would stop happening. It's a little impromptu scene there. And then, of course, all the fun nicknames like...
that Shawn makes up for guests whenever they're going to question people.
That's my favorite
Methuselah
part of the
Honeysuckle. Like some of the other ones. Die Harder or Squirts Macintosh. Resourceful Cuss, Tay Diggs, Daquan Smallpox Randolph. Oh, there's a good one in there.
And then sometimes Gus just rolls with it and totally plays it off. And then sometimes Gus is like, really, man? And he does this
Yeah.
But the whole idea of this theory, I understand it, but I don't like. Part of me doesn't want to believe it because it kind of messes up the whole show, in my opinion. If everybody knows, then what's the point? I think there's a case for maybe one or two characters, but I like the idea. Like Juliet, for example, like when she finds out that he's not a psychic, like that's a big deal. It's a huge conflict in their relationship. And so I don't think that she knows. What do y'all think about Juliet?
I don't know. I feel like it's almost like the Batman principle personally of for a police department to stay by the book and follow the rules, they have to have probable cause in order to actually like enter a place to go and investigate, whereas Shawn is a civilian. And of course, there can be charges pressed against him if he's breaking and entering. However, if he finds probable cause that closes the case, they're going to overlook that and go, hey, he solved the case. And so I feel like at least if the chief knows, chief is just like, hey, it's a way for us to be able to solve the case without us getting our hands dirty. And as long as he's right and gets it right, we don't need to press charges because, hey, he caught the killer, you know? I totally ascribe at least to, I know you said that you don't think Juliet, but I feel like honestly, maybe Juliet just wants to believe it. Because I think that she and the chief and possibly Lassiter are just too smart to actually fall for, he's a psychic. Really?
Yeah. I agree. I feel like for sure the chief knows. She would have to know because of the reasons you gave. Like, she would have to know that this was a way to kind of manipulate the system a little bit, allow them to get in where they couldn't before. She's not dumb, like you said. And the same with Juliet and Lassiter. I'm not 100% on Juliet. I think that she may have just been blinded by her feelings from the beginning, which could have prevented her from realizing the truth. But I'm pretty sure Lassiter knew. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's an episode, and I'm pretty sure there's a comment. Let's see, and let's go to the comments here from Old Dad Energy. It says in the first season, yeah, I love that username. In the first season, Lassiter gets drunk and tells Shawn in no uncertain terms that he knows he's not a psychic, but that Shawn is the most amazing deductive investigator he has ever seen, and he is frankly jealous of him. Lassiter forgets the conversation, but of course, Shawn does not. And he and Gus even spend that episode propping Lassiter up and making it look like Lassie solved the case to kind of like throw off the scent, you know?
Oh,
that's a good episode.
So, that's a good one.
Yeah, so for sure the chief and Lassiter, possibly Juliet. Let's see.
Someone else kind of counters that. This is from Tim Midge. The chief might know, however, it wouldn't make sense for Juliet and Carlton to know. Juliet finds out later in the show and it leads to a huge fallout. Carlton keeps trying to prove Shawn is lying. Almost every episode he is suspicious of him. If he knew he was faking and just didn't care, he wouldn't spend that much effort trying to prove it. That last bit doesn't necessarily track.
Wait, no. If he knew he was faking the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That those actually work together, Spencer.
Yeah.
No, like what they're saying is if he knew he was faking. Okay, never mind.
Carlton keeps trying to prove Shawn is lying. He's faking because he knows you're a liar.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that deep down, what old dad energy is saying is he knew he was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew that without his help, they probably wouldn't have been able to close as many cases as they had. But then Timage, the other commenter, he's showing that side of Lassie that's, trying to disprove Shawn every step of the way because he knows he's a fake. I think it's an inner conflict for Lassie of, gosh, he's really good and he's helping us solve these cases. But the other side of him is going, but he's a liar and we're breaking the law letting him do these things, but then he's solving cases, and so then maybe with that drunk filter, he was able to tell him, look, I know you're really good at this stuff and everything, and tell him his true feelings of, yeah, you're really good at what you do.
Yeah, I agree.
It looks like we have another comment here that we could read from AOBCD 8663.
Yeah. So basically, they say that the chief knew from day one. I feel like that's canon. Carlton knew but could never prove it. Juliet thought she knew, but trusted Shawn enough to believe him. So that kind of backs up essentially kind of what we've been saying, what the other commenters have been saying. So yeah, I think it centers around those three. I don't think anybody else really knew, though.
I would bet his dad knows.
Well, yeah, his dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But why is it such a big deal for Jules when it's revealed or proven to her that he's a fake if she already knows?
I feel like she just feels like she was lied to because he tried to keep up the facade. And so she's upset about that more than the fact that that he is a psychic, you know.
She knew in her heart of hearts, there's no way. But the fact that he kept telling her so emphatically, yes, I am. She just chose to believe him. I could see that.
Then she should be mad at herself.
She might be, but she doesn't know how to express that, so she takes it out on Shawn.
It's very possible.
That happens sometimes.
So the only other thing that needs to be added is there was an edit to this from the original user, and it says, the reason the chief lets it go is because Shawn's visions always lead to A, evidence being uncovered, and or B, a confession. A psychic's vision would not be admissible in court, and so someone only offering visions would be laughed out of the station by the chief. The chief goes along with it because she knows Shawn is indeed a good detective, and it's the only way she can get that good of a detective on her team. So, yeah.
Why didn't she just hire him as a detective?
He didn't go through the academy?
Yeah. It would be a lot of bureaucratic stuff that he'd have to go through the whole training and academy and all that stuff. And
Shawn does not strike me as the kind of guy who wants to deal with that.
No. No, he would never do that.
No. But hey, did you hear about Pluto?
That's messed up, man.
I think that pretty much wraps this one up. Are you guys ready to rate?
Yes, I'm ready to rate.
Monsters are as old as humanity itself. Monsters embody our fears. Yet, they help us define the boundaries of what it means to be human. We know most monsters aren't real, yet we can use monsters to learn about reality, psychology, biology, folklore, literature, critical thinking. We're on a journey to learn about the world through the lens of monsters, and we hope you'll come along with us. Subscribe at monstertalk.org.
Hey Matt, did you know that wombats poop cubes?
Nope, never heard that before.
Did you know the unicorn is the national animal of Scotland, Ken?
I didn't know, nor do I care.
Neil, did you know that Liechtenstein is the only doubly landlocked country in Europe?
Jeff, isn't that an American pop artist?
Well, actually, it's both. If you want to learn things like that and more, join us each week on Triviality, a pub trivia-style game show podcast where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge.
Listen in each week to answer general knowledge trivia alongside exciting guests from around the world.
And we're here too.
Join us every Tuesday for new hour-long episodes of Triviality, plus tons of extra theme content on everything from The Office and Lord of the Rings to science and geography.
And sometimes we even do sports.
Find us on all your preferred podcast apps and take part in the fun of playing bar trivia without the need to wear pants.
Real mature, Jeff.
Forget it, Neil. It's Triviality.
The highest rating that we have is Genius. This is reserved for only the best theories, which we believe are better than the actual canon. The next step down is plausible. It's a good theory, it's believable. Unlikely is next. It's not a terrible theory, but pretty unlikely, as the name suggests. And then the last thing is preposterous. These are the theories that are just stupid. Basically, we're all dumber for having listened to them. Okay, Laura, please kick us off.
Oh, Lord, I am vacillating here between genius and plausible. I'm going to go with genius. I think this is canon. This is my canon that, yes, they knew. They just went along with it just to be able to solve cases.
Yep. So I'll also go with genius on this. I honestly kind of suspected a portion of this theory whenever I was watching the show. So for me, this just kind of confirms my own headcanon. Genius.
I'm going to go with plausible. I guess it's, there's the argument, they're not dumb, so they would obviously know what's going on. But I don't want them to know it because then I feel like that takes away from the show. So
Well, Shawn is essentially like a big child, and like they know that he's this extremely talented big child, and they know that if they tell him the truth, that it'll upset him, and he probably won't want to use this skill anymore because he feels like he's getting away with it, and that's what is exciting for him. So that's why they know, but they go along with it, in my opinion.
I wonder if there's a bit of like savantism, if that's a word.
Yeah,
if he's a little bit of a savant with this of he shouldn't be this good at it. He is. We shouldn't be encouraging it, but we're going to.
Yeah.
Fan Theory Queries is part of the Airwave Media Podcast Network. Visit airwavemedia.com to listen and subscribe to their other fine shows like Legends of the Old West, Art Smart, and Attaboy, Clarence!